years, but for years and years, Gary and Carolyn and I team taught classes together, and we're cohorts in teaching crime, not criminal.
No, we taught humanities, not crime.
And so we had so much to say about you retiring that we decided to put it into a song.
Oh no.
Okay. Are you ready with your prop?
I'm ready with my prop. Okay, I'm going to just check the sound first to make sure everything's good.
Seth has passed out lyric sheets for any of you who want to try to sing along with us. And I just say good luck to all of us. Or as we say in the theater room, break your leg. No, break a leg. One's got to roll in place.
Can you hear back there?
Can you hear in the back? Okay.
Are you ready? On your mark. On set. Go.
Where's your hands?
He is the very model of a perfect dean at MCC. He's dealt with everyone from students, staff to faculty. Sometimes he has even had to deal with some technology. From Jensabar to PowerPoint, he seldom makes apologies. From shepherding clay on the wheel, we know his phraseology. He loves to teach philosophy, mythology, theology. He juggles teacher clubs and presentations with such levity. So it's time to travel out to country so far 17. He's the very model of a perfect dean at MCC, and still has time to travel out to country so far 17. Still has time to travel out to country so far 17. No way. Andorra and Australia, then there's Austria and Belarus, Bosnia and Herzegovina, Botswana, Canada. There's Czech, Costa Rica and Croatia, also Cuba, the Czech Republic, Denmark, Ecuador, Egypt, El Salvador. He is a very model of a perfect dean at NCC, and still has time to travel out to countries so far 17.
Let's slow this down a little bit.
There's England, Fiji, France, and Germany, and also Guyana, Gibraltar, Greece, and Guatemala, Haiti, and Honduras. There's Hong Kong, and there's Hungary, there's Iceland, and there's India. There's Indonesia, Ireland, there's Israel, and there's Italy. Japan and Jordan, South Korea, Lebanon, and Liechtenstein. Malaysia, Mexico, and Montenegro, and Morocco. Namibia, the Netherlands, New Zealand, Nicaragua, Nigeria, and Norway, Palestine, and Panama. He is the very model of a perfect dean at MCC, and still has time to travel out to countries so far 17. Still has time to travel out to countries so far 17. What? Peru and Poland, Portugal and Russia, Scotland, Singapore, Slovakia, South Africa, and Spain, and Switzerland, Syria and Turkey, the Ukraine and the United States, the Vatican, well, Zambia, and finally Zimbabwe. It's the very model of a perfect dean at MCC. Still has time to travel out to countries so far 17.
I think you had some help with my son or my family.
Somebody let us in on the list.
Oh my gosh.
And Gilbert and Sullivan provided the melody.
Thank you. My gosh. I felt tired just watching it.
I'm going to go take a nap.
Thank you for doing that. What a great song. Were you the one, Jared, that gave her little pictures and those flags?
No. No. Actually, I stole the pictures from your Facebook page.
I falsely accused you.
But somebody gave us the list of your countries.
Okay.
And it said, Dad's countries on it.
Who was that?
And for people who don't know, Gary brought the study abroad program to MCC, and Val and I led a couple of trips, and I've been on trip with Gary and his son is also taking that over as a business, and we are the humanities, we were the humanities department. Bob's up.
2 questions. 1, how the heck would we have sung along with that? 2, why are you leaving us?
I'm staying as a teacher. I'll still be here for non-credit and adjunct teaching. Just moving as dean.
Yeah, okay. Good afternoon. I'm Bob Ferrantino. For those of you I don't know, which thankfully I think I know everyone in the room. Well, for the last 10 years, I've had the pleasure, almost 10 years, of working together with Dr. Hauck. And I think we've been blessed for 10 years. To have someone of his stature working with us and doing all the good things he's done, I got a list. Because when I think of Gary, I think, how many different things has he contributed to? Has he started? Has he finished? Has he ticked people off about? It's all sorts of good stuff. But, let me refer to notes. I don't want to forget anything. He's touched, I don't know how many lives in our communities through his efforts to bring the world to MCC's campus, just as we just heard Carolyn and Val speak to and sing to. His focus on promoting cultural activities for our students, for our colleagues, building internationalization on campus, student development work that he has done, he's brought many, many wonderful speakers, wonderful events to the campus, which has engaged, as you all know, hundreds, thousands of students over the years, providing a worldview for those students that I know many of them would not have had, but for your efforts. I'm sure many of you know now, at least, that Gary's a world traveler. Is it 70 now? 74, but who's counting?
Wow.
You guys missed it.
No. I don't know where we put those.
Jared, come on.
We would have had to write another verse.
Go in the hall and get that done. Right? I had the pleasure of having Gary as my boss for 3 weeks last year, as we worked 3 memorable weeks in India. They were memorable, to say the least. He's a great tour guide, folks. Let me tell you. Heidi, good tour guide?
Oh, yeah.
But he's also a great shepherd of his uncooperative flock. And many times we were. But you know, those experiences, the 74 different countries, working with students on so many different exchange programs, that's made him who he is and who we love today, as we think about what Gary brings to us. Inquisitive. Yeah, that sly smile tells me inquisitive nature for sure. Scholarly. Truly accepting of others. Gracious to a fault. A wonderfully sly sense of humor as you get to know him. And one of the best teachers you'd ever want for your students to sit in class and work with. There is no doubt about that. He's been a counselor and confidant to many on campus, including me and others. He's had the major responsibility of working with our adjunct faculty over the years. And it's been his work that has brought our adjuncts much closer to the campus. And when I say that, I mean he's the one who's instituted an adjunct orientation, so that adjunct faculty members actually get a feel for what the campus is like, for what we do, and most importantly, the value he brought to working with those folks. Gary is a true servant leader. There is no doubt about that. And we have been fortunate to have 10 of his 40 years in higher ed spent with us here at MCC. Now, all that stuff, that's all the good academic hoo-ha about Gary. I got a memory I got to share with you. Gary, do you remember going to Florida?
Oh my God. Yes, I do.
Gary and I, among some others on campus, found ourselves in Orlando a few years ago. Was that Achieving the Dream?
Yes, it was.
Achieving the Dream conference in Orlando. And one night, Gary and Lois and Judy and I decided, let's go out and have dinner. Let's go out and have a nice dinner. And did you know that at downtown Disney, there's a House of Blues? Let's go do that and listen to some great blues music. So, we went out together, had a great dinner, and headed over to the House of Blues.
The oldest people there.
Now, entering the House of Blues, we immediately knew something was amiss. Yeah.
But just the song lyrics language alone.
The House of Blues was not featuring blues that evening. Instead, it was an all-out celebration. A celebration of headbanging heavy metal conventioneers. Right?
Mosh pit and all.
So, our first clue to that should have been the fact that people were only being allowed into the venue if they actually set off the metal detector. Luckily, we had keys in our pocket and a belt. Gary took out his earrings that evening, so that didn't work. A little unusual, but yet, okay, fine. So we get into the blues house. And I had to go use the facilities for a quick minute. So I run back. I'll be right back, all right? Come back out. And yeah, the mosh pit had formed. And there's Gary Hauck running down the damn aisle to jump into the mosh pit.
Don't believe it. Don't believe it.
And like a minute later, he's being cast along the room. And Lois and Judy and I are looking at each other going, what the hell is he doing?
Not true, not true.
Oh yeah. Let's just say that at that point, the three of us thought maybe it was time to get him out of there. He keeps humming heavy metal, though, the last few years. I don't know what it's caused. What's caused that? But the one thing that I'll be forever able to hold over his head are the pictures from that night. And now he's got this crazy idea he's going to retire. I have worked for the last, I don't know how many months, getting petitions, signatures to say, no, you can't go, to no avail. He has said, I'm out of here. I've had enough. All right, fine. I wish you nothing but the best. I know all your colleagues and friends wish you nothing but the best. We're going to miss you. But I know you'll be around, and I know I can rattle your chain many times more. Thanks all, and thank you, Gary.
Jared? All right. Very nice, Bob. Thank you. Hello, everybody. So my name is Jared, and I'm Gary's youngest and also most favorite son. Sorry to Heidi, Greg, and Andrew about that. Heidi really wanted me to do a roast, but I thought there's just too much material to go off of, so it's too hard to narrow that down, so I thought I'd just keep this a little bit more on the light side for today. It's a very exciting time as my dad finally retires, and I'm honestly quite shocked he's going through with it, because we all kind of thought he'd be that guy that's working full-time until he's at least 100, so we're all pretty surprised he's actually going through with that one. But you know, after so many years of such hard work, I can't really think of anybody more deserving of such a privilege of retirement than this man right here. It's just really impressive, all the things that he's done, not just with MCC, but throughout our entire West Michigan community. In everyone's life, there's someone who impacts them greatly. Somebody who really shapes their character and helps them be the person that they are. And for those who know me, I think it's pretty apparent who that person is. When I was young, a lot of time was spent leafing through old World Book encyclopedias at home, tracing maps and atlases, memorizing every world capital. My dad made it his mission to share his joy of the world with me in any way that he could, starting by bringing back coins and newspaper clippings from the places that he would travel to, and ultimately evolving into him taking me abroad with him. Even from my young age, I've always been very proud of my dad. I remember taking him into show and tell in the 2nd grade. Everybody being totally mesmerized by his stories and seeing his artifacts. I was the coolest kid in school that day by far. Given the bar wasn't set real high, because the kid who went the previous week, he brought in his pencil as a show and tell. So anytime I thought, people really thought he was really cool. It was just really fun. I think I brought him in every year after that, up until like, I don't know, 5th or 6th grade. It was just, he was a rock star every time he came in. Just really, really fun. But following in my dad's footsteps, I started collecting a lot of things. We pretty much became hoarders in the family. I'm surprised we weren't even on that History Channel show where they feature all the hoarders that have all this stuff. We had a lot of stuff. Because when he was little, he did the same thing. So I had, coin collection, stamp collection, Coke bottles, Coke cans, slices, plates, rocks, anything. But all because he was always so passionate about showing me the world and showing me that there's so much more to learn about our world. So many people to meet, so many places to explore. He did used to tease me though for going to the coin dealer and buying a dime for $10. But the joke's
$35.
The joke's on you because that dime was worth hundreds now. So there's nothing out of that. But since I was in the 4th grade, we have collectively traveled to over 100 countries, either together or in spirit. Sometimes we can't always go together, but whenever we can, it's always a lot of fun. Some of my best memories are travels with him, and with him and I together on our own. It's just a magical experience. But he continues to open my eyes to the world. He helps me to increase my critical thinking abilities and skills, and to be unbiased, to be caring, non-judgmental towards other people. And for that, I am forever grateful. So Dad, I want to thank you for your gifts of overwhelming positivity, selflessness, excitement, respect, and unconditional love. Not just for me, but for the entire family. I can't think of a better role model, and even though I don't know everybody in this room, I'm certain that the impact that you've had on their lives is something that they'll always cherish. So thank you.
Wow. I am blown away. Thank you so much. I actually had thought about some things to say, and now it's totally gone. I'll just speak from the heart for a few seconds. First of all, thank you for being here. I look out at a room of friends who have taught me a lot about love and forgiveness and acceptance and encouragement and grace and relationship and rapport and strength and dignity. And I feel all of that from you, and you have built into my life so much in your own wonderful, marvelous way. This has been a great family here. And so I'm going to, in order, I'm going to talk to some things that Bob and Carolyn said, and then I also want to move over into my family as well. I have had a wonderful journey. I'm thankful for the fact that as I look back, God's given me the privilege of serving for 15 years as a pastor, 15 years as a full-time professor, and about 18 years as a dean. And I feel blessed in all those regards. And what's cool today is that I have folks here from all those 3 eras. So thank you for being here today to celebrate this wonderful day with me for this next era. You have been a very important part of who and what I am and how God has blessed me. This place is marvelous. I love MCC. It's been a tremendous family, and I can't think of any better place to have ended my professional vocational journey than this place. So thank you for the relationship and for the fun we've had. What Carolyn and Val have shared together is a little bit of a token of the fact that we just had an awful lot of fun doing what we do. Teaching here is fun, being on the staff here is fun, and working with folks like Bob and Carolyn and others of you who are here and Val have been just really wonderful. So thank you for that. In terms of the future, certainly we're not going to be going away. I certainly see myself hopefully teaching here part-time until I get too senile. And of course my family is beginning to worry about that already. But hopefully we'll still be able to teach some non-credit this semester and credit going forward. I am so deeply blessed with my family. My beautiful bride and my wife of 46 years. Next year we're celebrating our first date on October 18th, 1969, which would be 50 years ago next year. She has been a very faithful, very supportive, a very wonderful wife in her own career as a caregiver. She's also been my caregiver in a wide variety of ways. Lois, I love you so much. Thank you for being my wife. My beautiful and creative daughter Heidi, who is the chef in the family. has been such a delight, and also a travel buddy. I have some pictures of her and I together at the Great Pyramids and the Sphinx. And I think you've probably seen the picture in the hallway of the guy at the camel and the pyramid. He was the guy who, when she and I were on a field trip together with about 40 students from BBC Clark Summit, turned to me and said, "Professor, I have deal to make with you. I give you camel for your daughter's hand in marriage." She was 13 years old. And I tell Heidi I came this close. But there was no way to fit that camel on the plane. A lot of wonderful memories. Greg is here with our grandchildren. Greg is our military, Air Force, Air National Guardsman, and also our teacher and family, and the father of our beautiful children. Jacob, who's in second grade this year, and Lily, who's in kindergarten this year. And they're our very precious grandkids. And Lois has the privilege of being their nanny. And so we see Greg almost every day with the kids almost every day. And when he's on drill weekend, we have them for the weekend together, and a lot of very special and wonderful memories there. And then Andrew and his lovely wife, Becky. Andrew is our electrical engineer, our practitioner, our carpenter, our handyman. Whenever I need something done, I know who to go to. He's the draftsman who can do it and get it done. He's also in that domain his own scholar as well. And Becky's certainly a wonderful X-ray technician and a great wife and a great daughter-in-law. I call her Billy Bop because she has that great role. And of course, Jared, as you just met, when I think of Jared, I look at little Gary. Because looking at him all through his growing years, it's like looking in a mirror, and so it's just really been fun to be a part of that. And of course, if you were here when he graduated, I had a chance to hand him his diploma as an alumnus of MCC. He's our percussionist and of course our world traveler and our travel agent, and so we do continue to travel a lot. And thankfully, my whole family, every one of them, have traveled with me. Collectively and also individually, and we have more trips ahead of us as well. And I love the fact that they share with me our passion for the humanities. Our styles might differ a little bit, our tastes might differ, but the passion for the humanities are certainly very much there. So again, I feel today so deeply, deeply, deeply blessed. I will continue on with Heritage Village. I'll continue on with the Historical Village, certainly there, and also the museum in Greenville. And will have my roots, hopefully, in those organizations for a long time to come. And yes, you see the sideburns. My wife says they are going to go away September 1st. But August 31st, I am going to act out to the best of my ability, Oli Amo, or as Tuda tells me to say it, Ule Amble. How was that, sir? Was that close to Norwegian? Okay. So he came from Norway, was a delightful immigrant who pastored for 53 years, 7 churches at the same time, going from church to church on horseback, and had a tremendous impact in this community. So I get a chance to act out some of his life story in the Barn Theater to raise money for a capital campaign at the museum in Greenville. It's next Friday night at the Barn Theater, 7 o'clock. So if you're able to come, certainly invite you to come back. So thank you again for being here today. Thank you for all the fun, the laughter, for your embrace. I love you all. Please enjoy. Thank you so much.